So this is what the fourth program. So we pass variables which are already given in the database in your syllabus, in your curriculum. You have this database. The same database we have created, and that we have converted to data frame, and we applied k-means concept here, and we have created clusters, and finally we predicted the class, in which class the new point or new values has to be classified. So these are the centroids of 3 clusters. As we mentioned here, 3 clusters. So we have created 3 different clusters and centroids for each cluster. See here, as per our database, data set, we have variable 1, variable 2, and class. And see, this is a cluster where we have 3 different clusters. 0, 1, and 2 are the clusters. And these are the centroids for those clusters. A new point come, and this new point is identified as a cluster 1 and a class 1. Both the things we have calculated here. Okay, both the things we have calculated here. We have calculated cluster and the class. Cluster for the new point, class for the new point. So cluster for the new point is 1 and predicted class for the new point is also 1. So this is what our k-means concept. I hope you all able to execute this. Is it? Did you get the output? The same output what I received here? Warnings we can ignore, but we need to be a little conscious on this particular result. Yes. So how many of you are working along with me? May I know? No. Okay. So hardly few students. No problem. If possible, you can take a screenshot. Thank you, ma. Okay. So the next, the fifth program is following training examples, map descriptions of individual onto high, medium, and low. So this is what are a small data set. Okay. This data set we need to create in terms of Excel. And input attributes are from left to right: income, recreation, job, status, age group, home, owner. Find the unconditional probability of goal and the conditional probability of single given matrix in the data set. So this is again like the problem under probability, where we have unconditional probability and conditional probability. We'll see how to solve it. Let me see when can I share you the data set. I'm trying to share the same thing I have converted in terms of Excel, and that Excel, if you are able to do, it's good. Otherwise, you can use this credit X. Oh, sorry, it have gone to individual. Let me share to everyone. So I think I have shared it to Sai Priya. Sai Priya, can you please share that to the everyone of your classmates so that they can use it? Because here I don't have option to share to everyone. Let me try once again. I hope it now. Now, are you able to say this? The file which I just shared in the chat box? Everyone. Okay. Please download it. Please download it. I have converted the same data in terms of Excel. As they have mentioned, input attributes are income, recreation, job. Let me check. So income, recreation, job, status, age group, homeowner, credit worthiness. So the same thing I have developed in terms of Excel. Okay. So that is the same thing I have shared with you all. So please download it. And so this is what import pandas as PD, as already we have imported in this Jupyter notebook. No need to import. But if you want to execute this, means the earlier cell, whatever the code you have in your earlier cells, those cells should be executed. Otherwise, if you want to, if you don't want to execute those cells, straight away you can go for this particular program and you can write import pandas as PD. Because whenever you are working with data sets, this pandas concept is mandatory. Without pandas, you cannot work with the data sets. So I'm importing pandas as PD. And the file path, so which is there in my downloads, straight away I have given the path. Please give this path like it is a credit.excel. So I have given the same thing here. Import pandas as PD, file path as, you just give the file path. Okay. So it's already 22 minutes over, 23 minutes over. So we have more 16 to 17 minutes. By that time, I'll try to complete at least the first program. Now, I just want to read it as a data frame. Whatever the file path I have taken here. So this, from this file path, the data, whatever the data I have, data set I have, that data set I'm going to store in the DF, which is my data frame. I'm converting to the data frame. So file path, in that file path, we have an Excel file. That Excel file, now we are converting in terms of data frame using your pandas. So I hope you understood the relation between these things. So you are getting the file, you are going there and getting the file, and you are reading the file and storing in the data frame using your pandas. So this entire thing is going to be happens pandas. And next, print df dot columns. Okay. So I'll execute only this three. Done. So these are my columns. What are my columns here? Income, recreation, job, status, age group, homeowner, credit worthiness. Means whatever the file is there in your downloads, that file you brought to your current session. Now the file is there in your current session where you are working. Okay. Now what you have to do? So total records. So how many records I have? For example, I'll show you this one. How many records I have? So the length of my data frame I want to display. I have it. Total records, and I want to display that total underscore records. Done. Total I have 10 records. You can check, the same thing will be there. Otherwise, so what is the syntax to read the top 5 values of any data set? If I said simply DF, no? Complete data set will be displayed here. But if I want to display top 5, what is the syntax? Top 5 rows. Total 10, 0 to 9, total 10. That is what the length of our data set. But what I am asking you, how to display the top 5 rows? DF? So do you know about head and tail? Head is going to display the top 5 and tail is going to display the bottom 5 rows. Are you aware of those things? Please respond. And for what you are waiting then? You have to give reply, right? So using your head and tail options, you can display the top 5 or bottom 5 rows of the data set. So now total records is length of DF. So by which you are going to calculate your total length. But in the question, they asked something. What they asked in the question, find the unconditional probability of golf. The first point they mentioned is unconditional probability of golf. So now you need to calculate unconditional probability of what? Golf. Golf is a game. So golf is a recreation. So in this column you have golf. So you want to find the unconditional probability of this golf. So now what I'm doing here, count golf. Count golf. DF of DF recreation is equal to, sorry, in the recreation column, I have golf. So DF of DF recreation is equal to golf. Then what you are doing here? So display this count underscore golf. Let me know what exactly happening. What will be the output? 4. 4 means what? It is counting. How many golfs are there in this recreation? How many golfs are there in the recreation? You are least bothered about the other possibilities and all. Only you are counting that if recreation is equal to golf, then that going to be counted. You are counting. Okay. So if it is 1, 2, 3, 4, so you will be getting the count of your golf. So I have 4. But what exactly I have to do? I need to calculate probability of golf. So how I'm going to calculate the probability of golf? Total number of records, how many I have? Total number of records are 10, out of which the probability or the count of golf is 4. Total number of records are 10, out of which the count of golf is 4. The probability of golf is equal to count golf by total records. This is the formula to calculate the probability of golf. Total records are 10, out of which 4 are the count golf. So now what I got? I got golf, probability of golf. Okay, is it clear? The unconditional probability of golf, we did it here. Did you able to understand? It is less than 10 minutes we have. Please respond. Then we have the, we can go to the other part of the question, and that is what? And the conditional probability of single given mid-risk in the data set. So that is the second part of your question. First part is unconditional probability of goal that we have calculated. Now conditional probability of mid-risk. Now single and mid-risk. Count single and mid-risk. How we are going to calculate? We'll check this. So count single and mid-risk is equal to DF. The status of status should be single. So single like They clearly mention the instances. They haven't mentioned about any columns. They asked the question, in the question they asked about instances. So directly they have gone to a particular instance in that particular column. That is what they mentioned, single. The status is equal to single and credit worthiness is equal to mid-risk. So straight away you cannot give a single and mid-risk, because it is a particular instance of a particular column, and mid-risk is also an instance of a particular column. So that you need to clearly mention. So now what I am doing, DF status is equal to single and DF credit worthiness is equal to mid-risk. So here you have taken condition. What condition? So status should be single and credit worthiness should be mid-risk. So if that is happened, then what you are asking? You are asking to count it. So we'll check the count. I'll copy this. Only two. Check whether we have two or more than two. So mid-risk, single, mid-risk, single. Yeah. Apart from these two, we don't have any other possibilities. So status is equal to single and credit worthiness is equal to mid-risk. The count is 2. And what else I need to verify? Simply I want to check the count of mid-risk. I want to check another one. Sorry. Which is adding the cell and see. Now count mid-risk is equal to DF of DF credit worthiness is equal to mid-risk. Credit worthiness is my column name, in which I just want to check mid-risk, how many times this mid-risk has repeated. The total count I want to check. Sorry, I am not asking to display the output, right? So this one I put it here. Now done. 3. Check. 1, 2, and 3. Only 3. So that is what we got it. Right? So now we need to calculate the probability. It's a conditional probability, right? For conditional probability, we have certain parameters. We have certain conditions. Now calculate probability of single and mid-risk. Now I have calculated, I just counted that single and mid-risk. I counted mid-risk, mid-risk. Now I just want to calculate the probability of single and mid-risk. What is the formula here? Out of total records, count of single and mid-risk is what? That is the probability, right? We all know how to calculate the probability. So total records, out of total records, out of 10 records, how many are single and mid-risk? Okay, how many are single and mid-risk? Hardly 5 minutes we have. So if I'm executing this, 0.2. So out of total, 0.2 is your probability of single and mid-risk. Then calculate P single mid-risk using Bayes theorem. Now we are going to calculate P single or mid-risk using Bayes theorem. Probability of single and mid-risk. So if count mid-risk is greater than 0, then it has to calculate this one. Otherwise, you are going for 0.00. Because probability lies in between 0 or 1. So if it is count mid-risk is less than 0, definitely your probability is 0.0. If no instances of mid-risk, conditional probability is 0. If no instances. If you have certain instances, then you are going to calculate this conditional probability. Probability single given mid-risk is equal to probability single and mid-risk by count mid-risk by total records. Now you people joining, hardly 3 minutes are there. You need to rejoin. Then finally,
టిష్యూ పేపర్ తెచ్చివా
unconditional probability
తేజు
and conditional
ఒక టిష్యూ పేపర్
probability.
తెచ్చివా
Conditional probability and
తెచ్చిరా
unconditional probability. Divya ma'am, please unmute. Sorry, mute yourself.
సారీ
So finally, what you are doing, you are displaying unconditional, because this is what the question they asked. So I am displaying unconditional probability and conditional probability together. See, unconditional probability of golf is 0.4 and conditional probability like single given mid-risk is 0.66. So let me know whether you get the same output or not. Hardly you have 3 minutes time. I'm giving you time. So you execute it and let me know what you received. Quick. Do I need to increase the font size? Is it visible? Oh, I think it's visible now. Please execute it and let me know.
If it closes, please log in quickly.
More 2 minutes. Now you people are joining. I don't know why.
అంటే ఐఎమ్ కీపింగ్ మెసేజ్ ఇన్ ద గ్రూప్ మేడం ద నంబర్స్ విచ్ డిడ్ నాట్ జాయిన్ దే విల్ నాట్ రైట్ దర్ ఫస్ట్ మిడ్ even if they write, I will not give them marks for first mid.
Okay, maybe that is the reason.
Yeah, still I have 5 students to join.
So can anyone please reply whether you have completed this or not? Did you get the output? Or do I need to share the code in the chat box? What do you prefer? So let me know, do you want me to share the code in the chat box or have you executed? Okay. But hardly less than 1 minute. So once we relog in, no, I'll share it.